Hello everyone, thanks for tuning into today's second video. We're going to have a look at the weather for the next 14 days for today's second video. Day 10 will take us to the 27th of December, and we'll be able to extend out beyond that with the GFS and ECM Ensembles. They run around a couple of weeks. We'll have a look at the CFS V2 at the end of the video. For the next 4 weeks gets us to the middle of January, and I shall get on with that for you in a moment. Just say that first. The video today was our 6 AM UK weather forecast. Will be live at 6 PM. We're going to live stream Ensembles watch. We'll have a look at 12Z, and I'm sure we'll include some long range in that stream as well. So that's coming up at 6 PM. Please like, share, and subscribe on all of today's videos and content. And thank you so much, everybody, for doing that for GavsWeatherVids. Thank you so much. Right, going to start off with Strat data to begin this video. So this is from the JMA. The black line shows where we've been with the temperature at 10 HPA in the stratosphere over North Pole versus the grey line where we currently are. So at the moment we're ticking down slightly, and we're very close to the grey line, very close to average. It was above average with the temperature at 10 HPA about a week ago. So we went up to about minus 59 there, I think minus 60, minus 59. We're now close to minus 70, about where they'd expect us to be at this time of the year. Nothing overly dramatic going on in terms of the stratosphere. But we did have quite a pronounced cooling, got quite close to minus 80 back in November, at the end of November. But overall, not deviating too far from where they expect to be, with temperature at 10 HPA so far this season. At 30 HPA, we are a little bit generally colder there. So this is closer to the troposphere. We did go down to minus 80 around the turn of the month, and it was quite substantially below the grey line. Remember, that's the long-term 30-year average. We're currently quite close to minus 80 again as well. So at 38 HPA, that's a little bit colder than average generally compared to the situation at 10 HPA, where, as I said, we did have that slight warming about a week or so ago. This is how the latest GFS is currently forecasting things in terms of temperature at 10 HPA. So the blue colours here, this is the polar vortex at its roots in the stratosphere, essentially. So these blue colours here basically a depiction of the PV at its roots in the stratospheric level. Now, as we run through, we can see that those blue colours are maintained, but always displaced a little bit towards the Atlantic and Northern European and also Eastern American and Canada side of the Arctic. Over on this side, which is like the Siberian to the Western Canadian side and the Pacific side, I suppose. We're talking a little bit warmer over there. That's something that we have seen throughout this season. Anyway, we run through so far. We run through, and we can see that up to Christmas Day, both blue colours are remaining there over the pole, again, particularly notably over on our side of the North Pole. Carrying on beyond Christmas, we find that those blue colours are getting quite stretched, really. So it looks like the PV is under a little bit of stress and pressure here, with the blue colours, becoming elongated right way from the UK all the way over to Siberia. So it looks like the PV gradually traversing in towards Siberia there and becoming stretched a little bit as well. Now you notice this minor warming taking place over on the Siberian side when we get through toward the New Year. So this is New Year's Eve. That is a mild warming. It's not reaching southern stratospheric levels, but it is sort of a very widespread warming all the way from the Mediterranean right way over toward the Pacific, really, Pacific side of the Arctic. So that's quite interesting. Sometimes that is how SSWs can start. As we run into the beginning of the new year, that's how we're looking. So again, a widespread warming there from like the Middle East, I suppose, Southern Europe, and going all the way through Siberia, right way over towards the Pacific side. So could that be the start of an SSW into the new year? It does have that kind of look about it. It isn't reaching SSW levels, and it's nowhere near the pole either, by the way. So to have a genuine SSW, you've got to reverse the zone of wind at 10 HPA, 60 degrees north in the North Pole. So that would not be doing that, but that has that sort of look, is that kind of look that might be the start of an SSW beginning to start getting going there in towards the new year. But of course, this is a very extended range. It's a long way off with the GFS, and the GFS we know at this sort of time frame, sort of 300, 324, 348, 384 hours out, is pretty unreliable. So at the moment, just something to keep an eye on there. And yeah, so we'll keep monitoring that, obviously. Right, okay, so central temperature, the CT is currently sitting at 5.1. That is 0.6 of a degree above the 61 to 1990 average. That is provisional to yesterday, so the 16th of December. That's beginning to come up rather more quickly now. The rises with the CT have been pretty slow over the past few days, but now that it's starting to move quite quickly, and I've got a feeling by this time next week we could be in the 60s somewhere, so that will be interesting to see where we are there. These are the GFS upper air temperature and precipitation ensembles for the next couple of weeks. We're looking at Leicester today. The red line is the 30-year upper air temperature average for Leicester. We're starting off significantly above average at the moment, of course. We will find the upper air temperature coming down as we move in towards Tuesday into the middle of the week. Very close to long-term averages, really, as we head towards Christmas and indeed into the new year as well. We see that the upper air temperatures are I should say the white line, which is the ensemble mean, for the upper air temperature sticking very, very close to the long-term 30-year average. That does, however, mask quite a lot of scatter. So we're looking at mild ensemble members up here, cold ensemble members down there, and quite a few of them are cold and mild with a bit of a zonal signal. And, you know, the operation run, for example, with warmer sectors and cooler sectors alternating with one another, etc., etc., etc. Precipitation-wise, probably dry weather to come for the next day or two. There is some wet weather on the way, both for Tuesday, particularly focused on England and Wales. Then a few more days of drier weather second half of the week, and then from Christmas onwards looking rather unsettled. How does the snow row look for Leicester? Now those snow spikes we're seeing around the 22nd, 25th December, they have gone. Now we've got some snow spikes after Christmas, but not that many of them, so it looks like the chance of a cold or a white Christmas have reduced there. Surprise, surprise. We'll go through chart data mode in a moment. Latest Windflow Map from earthnullschool.net shows that we're bringing up southwesterly winds today. So you can see why it's so mild. The air is originating all the way from the Azores or wafting into western parts of Europe. Now I've done this a little bit wrong, haven't I? Because I haven't got the temperature and precipitation anomalies up. So just get those up. Hold on, everybody. Okay, there we go. We've got the temperature and precipitation anomalies up now. So, temperature anomalies from the 17th to 25th of December are coming out above average. It's going to be a mild week to come. And precipitation anomalies from the 17th to 25th of December. A bit wetter than average in the north, a little bit drier than average for southern and southwestern regions. Ireland also looking drier than normal there. Okay, let's start going through the chart data then. This is how the latest UK Met Euro run is looking for midnight on Wednesday. We're bringing in a slightly fresher westerly wind then, though not cold. Into Wednesday to Thursday, the low pressure deepens to the north of Scotland, turning wet and windy then. Heavy rain pushed across the country, and then by Thursday to Friday, winds turn into the north with colder air starting to push southwards, so shall begin to turn wintry in northern regions. But unfortunately, for cold weather lovers who want it cold for Christmas, by Saturday the 23rd of December, wind is quickly back into the west again. So you get a brief sort of cold snap there, but lasts little more than 24 hours. And then we're back into those milder winds again. That's Christmas Eve as far as we get to with the UK Met Euro run. It's midnight next Sunday, Christmas Eve. Then cold air starting to dig back in from the north again. Now let's have a look at the upper air temperature. So there's a contrast there. We've got cold air through northern Ireland, Scotland, northern England, relatively mild air further southwards. No, along that green line, particularly if the weather front was short. So ultimately going to be a weather front through here that's marking the boundary between the mild air to the south and the cold air from the north. If we were to get a stall of that weather front as it pushes through, then it could get quite interesting about on the UK Met solution. Okay, Icon, again, bringing those winds from the west, fresher winds on Wednesday, and then into Thursday and Friday, well, winds remain from a west to northwesterly direction, so a little bit on the cold side up in the north, but relatively mild down in the south. No direct northerly. That's Saturday, 23rd of December, again, the coldest of the air, just away to our north and northeast, very much on the periphery, and bringing the wind from off the Atlantic, especially towards southern and western regions into Christmas. Well, the cold air trying to get in. You can see from the elongation in the isobars here, kinks in the isobars. You can see from that the cold air is trying to move in from the north and northeast, but generally we're just about managing to maintain the mild air up to that point. And through Christmas Eve, that mild air gradually moves northwards and eastwards, so the upper air temperatures on Christmas Eve look like that, and generally they're looking pretty mild there. Nowhere near as interesting with the upper air temperatures on Christmas Eve as the UK Met had it. This is KMA, so this is of course model from Korea that we're very excited about. We love a new model at GavsWeatherVids. So again, we're starting off at 72 hours, and we're bringing the wind from the west, so it's a little bit fresher than it is now, but generally still pretty mild. Into the end of the week, the wind turns into the northwest, and for Scotland turns into the north actually as we get to Christmas Eve. So it looks like the KMA is still quite cold over Christmas. That's Christmas Eve, or leading up to Christmas. That's Christmas Eve, and we're going into a northerly there with the KMA. So the KMA still has a cold Christmas, everybody. The other models, well, the Icon model in particular looks like it's wobbling, but KMA is still keeping it cold. That's Christmas Day, winds from the north. There's a weather system in the flow that could bring some wintry conditions in from the north. And then beyond that, we get to Boxing Day, the high pressure topples in, so we cut off the northerly, it turns mostly dry, but will be cold and frosty. And then after Christmas, milder air starts coming in around the top of the high. So the KMA does turn it milder, but it doesn't happen until after Christmas, between Christmas and New Year, and so consequently, we come away with a cold Christmas there from the KMA. The GFS midnight run again has us in that westerly flow on Wednesday at 72 hours, and then beyond that we find the wind trying to turn into the north towards the end of next week, but really staying in from a west-northwesterly direction, so not overly cold, but some cold air beginning to trickle into the far north. That gets us to Christmas Eve. Again, we've got cold air digging in to Scotland, but relatively mild for England and Wales. The upper air temperatures, though, looking quite cold, so even though winds in from the west, quite interesting, even though winds in from the west, it's quite a cold, quite a cold westerly, but we've got there actually with the GFS, and I expect it will be colder in the north though, from a surface temperature dew point type perspective. Down the south though, yes, even there we've got minus iceberg pushing through. So brief little cold up around Christmas Eve, then high pressure starts coming in from the west as we get through Christmas Day. It probably gives us a frosty start to Christmas Day though, but by the end of it, outbreaks of rain pushing up from the southwest with milder southwesterly winds returning, and then after Christmas we go into a push of mild southwesterly winds there on the 27th of December, and we keep it pretty unsettled then right way through towards the New Year. So as far as we get to today for GFS output is to the 2nd of January, where we're still bringing in those southwesterly winds looking generally quite mild. But GFS 6 there again placing us in that westerly flow on Wednesday. Could be quite stormy, particularly for the north on Thursday. That's something we are keeping an eye on. And then into Friday, well, again, colder air is trying to dig in from the north, actually gets into Scotland. I'm not sure how successful it is getting further south, though. But round Saturday, Sunday next weekend, colder air gradually attempting to trickle down to the south. -5 south iceberg by Christmas Eve is into like Wales and the Midlands, or the North Midlands anyway. Still relatively mild though down across the far south. Bit of ridge building through the country as we go through Christmas Day. Again, that might deliver a frosty start. Christmas Day, nice and crunchy, particularly in the north, but it won't last because low pressure and milder air comes back in from the Atlantic through Christmas Day to Boxing Day, turning milder, but also turning more unsettled. Day 10, 27th of December, again placing us in that southwesterly flow, so looking unsettled and mild. Into the extended range, well, yes, we keep it unsettled between Christmas and the New Year. Winds gradually turning into more of a northwesterly direction, so becoming cooler, but still unsettled with low pressure driving in from off. And so that's New Year's Eve, looking very unsettled on New Year's Eve, maybe even a little bit stormy. And, that low pressure by the 2nd of January is sitting in the North Sea, again bringing down more of a northerly flow. So very unsettled at the end of the year and into the beginning of the new year with GFS 6Z, and also a little bit colder, could deliver some snow to the northern half of the country. If you enjoyed the video, please do like, share and subscribe, and just show everyone for doing that. Why not drop a comment and let us know what you think about this and all of our videos. And don't forget to tell your friends about GavsWeatherVids. We thank so everyone for doing that. We only need to put on around 30 subscribers now. Can you believe it? To get ourselves to 17.5k. So if you could give us a sub and tell your friends and family to subscribe, that would be incredible, and we will thank you so much for doing that. Okay, with GM, once more, we're into those westerly winds as we go through Wednesday. Looking unsettled into the end of the week. Colder air digging into the north as well. By the time we get through next weekend, that is the even Christmas Eve, colder air pushing southwards. That's Christmas Eve, so we're in a slight transient ridge then on Christmas Eve. We've been quite cold air, especially in the northern half of the country by Christmas Day. Again, low pressure coming in from off the Atlantic. There's a bit of an elongation in the isobars. There's a weather front through here that's introducing the milder air ahead of it. Possibly it could be cold enough for a little bit of snow up in the north. But generally the mild air just pushes through during the course of Christmas Day, taking rain with it. And then we get to day 10, excuse me, get to day 10, and a ridge starting to build then over and to the west of the country, possibly begin to pull wind back into more of a northerly direction. The ECM again has us in a westerly wind on Wednesday, and then colder air, stormier conditions through Thursday into Friday. Winds turning into the north as well, so becoming cold at the end of the week. Snow showers like Scotland, wintry showers around coastal regions there probably. And then we start bringing in some milder air from the west and from the southwest again as we go through into Christmas Eve. So this is midnight Christmas Eve, mild down in the south, cooler further north and northeast. By the time we get through, excuse me, by the time we get through to Christmas Day, again we're in those mild westerly, southwesterly winds. So this is a mild Christmas Day from the ECM, and keeping it mild bed into Boxing Day as well. That's day 10. High pressure south, low pressure to the north, generally keeping the wind in from a west or a southwesterly direction there. So, yeah, have a quick look at the upper air temperatures with that. We can see that, particularly in the south, it's relatively mild air. Further north was near normal, but the cold air has retreated all the way away in towards the Arctic regions. This is a precipitation forecast based on that ECM run from TheBestShow.com. We're going to have some very wet weather coming up on Tuesday across England and Wales. Thoroughly wet day to come down in the south. A little bit cooler further north, a few wintry showers. It takes until the end of Tuesday to get rid of that rain. Then we're into those westerly, northwesterly winds. They start to bring some colder air into the north. So we do get a little bit of a cold snap with the ECM at the end of the week. Shower turn to snow across northern Scotland. Wintry showers peppering the coastal regions, but it's very quick. That's on its way out. By the time we get through to 23rd and 24th December, even Precip and Precip itself turns wet in the north. That could turn to snow briefly across Scotland, but otherwise it's a wet Precip and relatively mild temperatures as well. Christmas Day looking showery and except over the very, very far north Scotland, over high ground, where there is a little bit of sleet and snow indicated. Generally, it looks like we're just looking at rain showers for Christmas Day, and then Boxing Day brings heavy rain into the northern half of the country, not much through to the south. That's the scenario by the time we get through to midnight on the 27th of December. These are the options on the table within the ECM ensembles today. 4-day 10 gets us 27th of December from the Icelandic Met Office. 28 members of the ECM ensembles with low pressure to our north and northeast, so possibly winds in from a little bit of a northwesterly direction with that, unsettled and maybe a little bit on the chilly side, and then 23 flat as a pancake, low pressure to the north, high pressure to the south, winds coming in westerly direction. That does include the control me operational run as well, so not it's like minority option, but a very significant minority option from the operational run there for the 27th of December. The majority option for 28 here, the slightly cooler looking option. But 28 to 23, I mean, but each ensembles are favouring the cooler option, but not by a huge amount really. And both of them are very unsettled, so probably both of them are just slight variations of the same theme, really. And then in 2 weeks' time, these are the options that we've got. It gets us to New Year's Day, 1st of January. 14 members of the ECM ensembles with a big ridge through western parts of Europe. That will be mostly dry, but could be quite cold with some frost and fog potential then. 13 with low pressure to our east, high pressure to the southwest. Winds could be coming in from more of a northwesterly direction, about rather cool and showery. We've got 12 with blocking around Greenland, low pressure is to the east, and winds are coming in from a cold north or northeasterly direction with that. That's quite an interesting scenario, isn't it? If we started getting a Greenland block together, only 12 going for that there, so it is a minority. And then we've got another 12 just here with high pressure over to the south, country, low pressure away to the northwest, so that will bring up wind from our southwesterly direction. So a range of options there as we get to the new year. So by new year, probably all to play for. CFS finally, so these are 500 millibar heights, anomalies break down. Excuse me again, everybody. These are 500 millibar height zones breaking down into weekly periods. The first week period takes us from the 17th to 23rd of December. But next week we'll have low pressure to the north, high pressure will be to the south, and winds will be coming in from a westerly direction. Looking generally mild with rain in the north, but mostly dry time down in the south. Week 2 looks very unsettled. This is Christmas Eve to the 30th of December. Deep low pressure over the country really, so just very unsettled. But they'll use back over Christmas. Week 3 is going to be the 31st of New Year's Eve to the 6th of January. That one also looks really unsettled as well. And week 4 rounds it all off. Now, for week 4, the CFS over the past few days has been flirting with the chance of something a bit colder coming along into the second week of January. Not today, though. So this is the 7th to the 13th of January, and this is mild, low pressure in the Atlantic, high pressure down towards Spain, and that keeps the wind from the southwest. I can tell you that CFS overall for January is looking like this now. So the hint of blocking around Greenland's gone today. Remember, things change daily, though. But today, the hint of blocking around Greenland's gone. Instead, we've got low pressure in the North Atlantic, high pressure down towards Spain, and that keeps wind from the southwest. So the result of that is we have a mild January prediction, significantly milder than average, and also a rather wet January forecast from the CFS as well. We shall see. Okay, if you enjoyed the video, please you like, share, and subscribe. Thank you so much, everybody, for doing that. Why not drop a comment? Let's know what you think about this and all of our videos. And don't forget to tell friends about GavsWeatherVids. Thank you so much for doing that. Right, okay, that's it for day 10 to 14 down. We've got live stream coming up at 6. I'm just going to tell you what's happening, though, tomorrow, 6 a.m. UK weather forecast, and at 10 to 14 down. We've got another Christmas update number 18, penciled in for tomorrow also. So the content keeps on rolling. Keep checking back to the channel for more. I'll see you at 6 p.m. with Ensembles Watch. We'll go through the 12 set, and we'll have a look at a bit of long range as well. So see you a little bit later on at 6 p.m. But for this video, that's all for now, and thanks so much for watching. Bye for now.